Welcome to Emma's English.
Hey English learners, welcome back to Emma's English Talk, your cozy little place to learn real everyday English through natural conversations. I'm Emma.
And I'm Tom. We are so glad to have you with us today because we are diving into a topic that I think literally everyone in the world has experienced at least once, if not every single day of their lives.
Oh, absolutely, Tom. Today we are talking about that absolute moment of panic when you are standing in front of your door or at a subway turnstile and you realize you cannot find your keys or your card because they have vanished into your bag.
It is the ultimate test of patience, isn't it? You know the item is in there, but your bag has suddenly transformed into a portal to another dimension.
Yes, it is like my bag becomes a complete bottomless pit the very second I actually need to find something quickly.
A bottomless pit? That means a space that literally has no bottom, so things just fall forever and never end up anywhere, right?
Exactly. It is like a black hole where everything you throw in just disappears into the abyss. I swear, my tote bag is a bottomless pit because my keys are always at the very bottom, hidden under a mountain of receipts.
I know that feeling so well. My backpack is the exact same way. I will be standing at the grocery store checkout with a line of people waiting behind me, and I have to start digging around.
It is so stressful when people are waiting behind you. You feel their eyes on your back while you're frantically searching through your belongings.
Yes, and the more nervous you get, the harder it is to actually feel what your hands are touching. Every single item in the bag suddenly feels like a set of keys.
Right? You pull out a pack of gum, a charging cable, and a lip balm, but still no keys. It is a genuine daily struggle that we really need to unpack today.
Unpack quite literally. I think we have some great stories and some highly practical vocabulary to share about this exact phenomenon.
Yes, we do. So grab a cup of tea or coffee, sit back, and let's get into the messy details of our bags.
I am ready. Let's talk about the absolute chaos of carrying our lives around in these portable sacks.
So Tom, let's start with the classic scenario. Tell me about your worst experience trying to find something in your bag while you were in a massive hurry.
Oh, where do I even begin? It actually happened last Tuesday when I was trying to catch the express train to get to an important morning meeting.
Oh no, a morning meeting is the worst time for this to happen. Every second counts when you are trying to catch a train.
Exactly. I had about 2 minutes before the train was scheduled to arrive, and I was standing right at the turnstile at the subway station.
Let me guess. You reached into your backpack to grab your transit card, and it was nowhere to be found.
You hit the nail on the head. I reached into the front pocket, expecting it to be right there, but my hand met nothing but empty air.
That is the exact moment when your heart drops. What did you do next?
Well, I had to stop and step to the side so other commuters could pass. Then I had to rummage through my backpack like a crazy person.
Oh, rummage is such a great verb for this. When you rummage, you are moving things around quickly and untidily with your hands, trying to find something hidden at the bottom, right?
Yes, that is exactly what it means. I was tossing papers aside, shifting my water bottle, and digging my hand into every dark corner of that bag.
It is like a blind search. You are just using your sense of touch to identify objects, but everything feels identical when you're panicking.
Precisely. I felt something plastic and pulled it out, but it was just an old library card. I felt something else, and it was a pack of pocket tissues.
The classic pocket tissues, they always seem to appear when you do not need them, but never when you actually have a cold.
So true. I was rummaging through that bag for what felt like an eternity, and the train actually pulled into the station while I was doing it.
No way! You could hear the train arriving and you still hadn't found your transit card? That sounds incredibly frustrating.
I could hear the doors opening and the automated voice announcing the stop. I was starting to sweat. I finally just dumped the entire contents of my backpack onto a nearby bench.
Sometimes dumping everything out is the only logical solution left. It is humiliating but highly effective.
It really is. As soon as I emptied the bag, I saw the transit card. It had slipped between the pages of a notebook I was carrying.
Of course it did. It always hides in the most creative places. Did you manage to catch the train?
Sadly, no. I watched the doors close and the train pull away just as I finally scooped up all my belongings. I had to wait another 15 minutes for the next one.
That is so disappointing, but it really highlights how a tiny card can completely disrupt your entire morning schedule.
It really can. And I realized that my bag is just way too cluttered. I carry things around that I don't even use.
I think we are all guilty of that. My tote bag is basically a portable storage unit. I have receipts from 3 months ago, 3 different lipsticks, and at least 4 pens that don't even write.
4 pens that don't write? Why do we keep those? Why don't we just throw them away the moment they run out of ink?
I wish I knew. I think there's a part of me that hopes they will magically start working again if I keep them in my bag long enough.
That is a very optimistic way of looking at it, but in reality, they just add to the clutter and make it harder to find the things that actually work.
You're absolutely right. The other day, I was standing outside my apartment building in the pouring rain, and I had my hands full with a bag of groceries.
Oh, that is a recipe for disaster. Rain, groceries, and a locked door.
Yes, and of course, my apartment keys were at the very bottom of my tote bag. I stood at my front door completely at a loss.
At a loss. That means you were totally confused, helpless, and did not know what to do next, right?
Yes, exactly. I was standing there in the rain, feeling completely helpless and unable to decide whether to drop my groceries on the wet ground or keep holding them while trying to search with one hand.
That is a terrible dilemma. If you drop the groceries, the paper bag might rip, but if you don't, you can't get your keys.
Exactly. I was completely at a loss for a few moments. I just stood there getting soaked, staring at my locked door.
So how did you solve the problem? Did you find a dry spot to put the groceries down?
I ended up balancing the grocery bag on my knee while awkwardly digging into my tote bag with my left hand. I looked ridiculous.
I can picture that. It's like a strange gymnastic pose just to get into your own home.
It really was. And of course, while I was doing this, my keys had somehow managed to wrap themselves around my headphone cord at the very bottom.
The classic headphone tangle. That's another classic bag mystery. How do cords manage to tie themselves into complex knots without anyone touching them?
It's one of life's greatest mysteries. It felt like my keys and the cord had formed a conspiracy to keep me outside in the rain.
They were working together against you. It's a conspiracy theory I can actually believe in.
I eventually managed to pull the whole tangled mess out, unlock the door, and tumble inside completely wet and exhausted.
That sounds like a nightmare. It's amazing how a simple daily task can turn into a physical struggle.
It really makes you question your life choices. Like, why do I need this bag this big? Why can't I just carry my keys in my pocket?
Well, women's clothing is notorious for having tiny pockets or sometimes no pockets at all. That's a major part of the problem, isn't it?
Oh, don't get me started on pockets. It's a major conspiracy in the fashion industry. They give us these beautiful coats and jeans, but the pockets are either fake or so small you can barely fit a single coin inside.
That explains why so many women prefer tote bags or large purses. You literally have no other choice if you want to carry your phone and wallet.
Exactly. We are forced to carry these giant bags, which then naturally become disorganized because there is so much empty space to fill.
It's a vicious cycle. The larger the bag, the more things you put inside, and the harder it becomes to find anything.
It really is. I sometimes look at men who just walk out the door with their phone, wallet, and keys in their pockets, and I feel so envious.
It's definitely convenient, but we have our own struggles too. If I put too many things in my pockets, my trousers start falling down, or I look incredibly bulky.
That is true. A bulky pocket is not a very fashionable look either.
No, it's not. So sometimes I do have to carry a backpack, even if I only have a few items. And that's when the bottomless pit effect starts happening to me.
It seems none of us can escape the curse of the cluttered bag, no matter what we use to carry our things.
It's a universal human struggle in the modern world. We just have too many small gadgets and cards to keep track of.
Tom, I actually tried to solve this problem a few months ago by buying one of those bag organizers. Have you ever seen them?
Oh, yes, those felt inserts with a dozen different compartments of various sizes, right? Did it actually work for you?
Well, it worked for about a week. I was so proud of myself. I had a designated spot for my phone, a specific slot for my pens, and a little zippered pocket for my keys.
That sounds incredibly organized. It must have felt amazing to know exactly where everything was.
It did. I felt like a highly functional, successful adult. But then real life happened. I was in a rush one day, and I just threw my keys into the main compartment instead of putting them back in their little zippered pocket.
Ah, the beginning of the end. Once you break the system once, the whole thing falls apart very quickly.
Exactly. The next day, I stuffed a sweater into the bag, which squished the organizer. Within a week, the organizer itself was buried under a pile of loose items.
So the organizer just became another item lost in the bottomless pit of your bag? That is highly ironic.
It really is. Now I have a cluttered bag that contains a cluttered bag organizer. I actually made the problem twice as bad.
That is hilarious. It reminds me of when I tried to use a tiny pouch for my cables and chargers. I thought it would keep my backpack neat.
And let me guess, you forgot to put the cables back in the pouch, or you lost the pouch itself?
Both, actually. I would be in a hurry at a coffee shop, pack up my laptop, and just shove the charger into the main part of my backpack. Then the empty pouch would sit at the bottom, taking up space.
It seems like these organizing tools only work if you have the discipline to maintain them. And when we are busy, discipline is the first thing to go.
Absolutely. When you are running late or stressed, you are not thinking about putting your pen back in its designated slot. You just want to pack up and go.
Exactly. And then you pay the price later when you're standing in the rain or missing your train.
It is the classic case of short-term convenience causing long-term trouble.
It really is. I wonder if there is a psychological aspect to what we keep in our bags. Like, do we carry certain things just for emotional comfort?
Oh, definitely. I think we carry things just in case we might need them, even if the chances of actually needing them are close to zero.
Yes, the just-in-case items. I carry a small sewing kit, a Tide pen for stains, 3 different hair ties, and a portable phone charger that is usually dead anyway.
A dead portable charger is classic. It is completely useless, but you carry it around anyway because it makes you feel prepared.
Exactly. It gives me a false sense of security. I feel like I am ready for any emergency, even though I can't actually use it.
I do the same thing with a pocket knife. I carry it in my backpack everywhere thinking I might need to cut something or open a package, but I barely use it once a year.
But it makes you feel like an adventurer, ready to survive in the wilderness, even if you're just walking to a local cafe.
Exactly. It's all about the feeling of being prepared. But that feeling comes with a heavy physical weight and a lot of clutter.
It really does. My shoulders actually ache at the end of the day from carrying my tote bag around. It's basically a workout.
Maybe that's the secret benefit of a cluttered bag. It's a form of resistance training. You're building muscle while searching for your keys.
I like that positive spin on it. I'll tell myself that next time I have a sore shoulder. I'm not disorganized. I'm just working on my fitness.
Exactly. You're training for the bag-carrying Olympics.
I would definitely win a gold medal in the category of finding lip balm in under 10 seconds. I have developed a highly specific sense of touch for that.
That is a very specific skill. You should put that on your resume.
I should. Under skills, expert lip balm locator in dark environments.
I think employers would be very impressed by that level of resourcefulness.
It shows I can perform under pressure, which is always a good trait.
It really is, but joking aside, I do think we need to find better ways to manage our bags. Have you ever tried minimizing what you carry?
I have, but it's so difficult. Every time I try to take something out of my bag, I think, but what if I need this tomorrow?
That's the ultimate trap. You have to be ruthless. If you haven't used an item in the past 2 weeks, it should not be in your daily bag.
That is a very strict rule, Tom. What about things like an umbrella? It might not rain for 2 weeks, but you still need to carry it, right?
Okay, fair point, an umbrella is an exception, but things like old receipts, multiple pens, and empty wrappers definitely don't need to be there.
Yes, the trash is the easiest thing to clear out. I always find old movie tickets, shopping receipts, and crumbled napkins at the bottom of my bag.
It's like a history museum of your past month. You can reconstruct your entire life just by looking at the trash in your bag.
It's a little bit embarrassing when you put it that way, but it's so true.
Well, we all do it. It's just a natural consequence of moving quickly through our busy days.
You know, thinking about our struggles with cluttered bags reminded me of some great natural phrases we use today that can help our listeners sound much more fluent when they talk about these daily challenges.
Oh yes, we use some excellent idioms and verbs today. Let's talk about them because using these phrases correctly can really elevate your English.
Absolutely. One of the first things I mentioned was that my bag is a bottomless pit. I love this expression because it is so visual.
It really is. It creates a picture of a hole that goes down forever, which is exactly how a messy bag feels when you are searching for something.
Yes, and you can use this phrase for other things too, not just bags. For example, you can say a teenager's stomach is a bottomless pit if they can eat constantly and never feel full.
That is a perfect example. My younger brother was definitely a bottomless pit when he was growing up. He could eat a whole pizza and then ask what was for dinner.
Exactly. It just means something that seems to consume things without ever being filled or satisfied.
Another great word we used was rummage. I love the sound of this word because it sounds a bit like the action itself.
It does. It has a very active, messy feel to it. When you rummage, you're not just looking for something carefully. You are actively moving things around, creating a bit of a mess in the process.
Yes, like when you are looking for a specific pair of socks in a messy drawer. You have to rummage through all the other socks to find it.
That is a great example. You can rummage through a drawer, a closet, or a bag. It always implies a bit of chaos and urgency.
Then we had the phrase at a loss, which we used when we were describing that feeling of being completely stuck and not knowing what to do.
Yes, I said I was at a loss when I was standing in the rain with my groceries, unable to find my keys. It means you are totally puzzled, confused, or uncertain about your next move.
You can also use it in conversations. If someone asks you a really difficult question and you do not know the answer, you can say, I am at a loss for words.
Oh, that is a very common collocation. I'm at a loss for words. It means you are so shocked or surprised that you do not know what to say.
It is a great phrase to use in both professional and casual settings to show that you are completely surprised or stuck.
And then we talked about how a backup option works in a pinch. This is a highly useful idiom for everyday life.
It really is. When you say something works in a pinch, you mean it's not the ideal solution, but it will work if you are in a difficult situation and have no other choice.
Exactly. For example, if you do not have a hammer, a heavy shoe can work in a pinch to drive a nail into the wall.
That is a classic example. It's not the best tool for the job, but it gets the job done when you are desperate.
Yes, it's all about finding a temporary solution when you are facing a minor emergency or a difficult situation.
These phrases are so natural and common in everyday English. Using them will definitely make you sound more like a native speaker.
I agree. They add color and nuance to your descriptions of daily life.
They really do. It's much better than just saying, my bag is messy, or I looked for my keys. Using words like bottomless pit and rummage makes the story so much more engaging.
It brings the story to life, which is what good communication is all about.
Speaking of remembering new words and bringing stories to life, did you know we have a PDF script available for every single episode of our podcast?
Yes, we do. It is a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to study our conversations more deeply and practice their pronunciation.
You can download the PDF to read along while you listen, which is great for connecting the spoken sounds with the written words.
It is also perfect for shadowing, which is when you repeat what we say immediately after we say it to practice your rhythm and intonation.
I highly recommend doing that. It is one of the most effective ways to improve your spoken English and build confidence.
You can find the link to download the free PDF script in the description below, and we have also pinned it in the comments section for easy access.
Yes, so make sure to grab your copy after you finish listening to today's episode.
And while you are down there, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell.
It really helps us grow and allows us to keep creating these free English lessons for learners all over the world.
We appreciate your support so much. It keeps us motivated to bring you the best conversations every week.
It really does. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed and liked our videos. You are all amazing.
All right. And speaking of reviewing, before we say goodbye today, let's do a quick review of the 6 key vocabulary expressions we used in our conversation.
This is our favorite part of the episode because it brings everything together and helps lock these words into your memory.
It really does. The first expression we discussed was bottomless pit. Remember, this is a noun phrase used to describe a space or thing that seems to have no end, where things disappear completely.
Like Emma's tote bag, which is a bottomless pit because her keys always disappear to the very bottom.
Exactly. And our second word was the verb to rummage. This means to search through a container or space in a chaotic, untidy, and hurried way.
For example, I had to rummage through my backpack to find my transit card while the train was pulling into the station.
Perfect. Our third phrase was the idiom, at a loss. This means being completely puzzled, confused, or uncertain about what to do next.
Just like Emma was at a loss when she stood in the rain, holding heavy groceries and unable to find her keys.
Yes, I was completely stuck. Our fourth phrase was the idiom, in a pinch. This refers to a backup option or solution that works in a difficult situation or emergency when nothing else is available.
Like using a heavy shoe as a hammer in a pinch, or using a library card to scrape ice off your windshield in a pinch.
That is a great visual example. Our fifth phrase was the phrasal verb to crop up. This means to appear, happen, or present itself unexpectedly or suddenly.
For example, little problems always seem to crop up when you are already running late for an important meeting.
Yes, they always appear at the worst possible moments. And finally, our sixth phrase was the idiom to keep something at bay. This means to prevent something unwanted, dangerous, or troublesome from approaching or causing harm.
For example, organizing your bag with small pouches can help keep the clutter at bay.
Exactly. It keeps the chaos from taking over. These 6 phrases are incredibly useful for describing the small struggles of daily life.
They really are. I hope our listeners can try using them in their own English conversations this week.
Yes, practice is key to truly mastering new vocabulary. So, what about you guys? What is the most unusual or surprising item you currently have inside your backpack or purse? And how do you keep the clutter at bay? Let us know in the comments below.
Yes, we really want to read your answers and hear your stories about the bottomless pit of your bags. Thank you so much for studying with us today.
Have a wonderful day. Keep practicing your English, and we will see you in the next episode of Emma's English Talk. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.